When I think back on all the fears when I was pregnant, all of them dismissed except for one. The only test the state mandated was genetic. Looking for that extra chromosome.
Hello and welcome to the If We Knew Then podcast. I'm Stephen Saux,
And I'm Lori Saux.
and today we're going to talk about back to school.
Today's back to school day. I mean, it's officially back to school day. Like, we dropped Liam off for his first day of his sophomore year of high school this morning at 8:30, and he rocked that transition.
He did well.
He did, because we told him, and there was a part of me that, listen, from elementary school, we used to have this principal who would call and be like, a week out, say, start getting your kids to bed, which I always was just like, it just was so presumptuous to just, I don't know, tell us like a week out.
Oh
There's
my
still,
gosh.
because to me, there's
Like
still
how to parent.
right there, but there's still a week left of summer, and I get that you're back at school.
Yes.
But like
doing
as
administrative work.
right, but
Yeah.
as a kid, kids have this
They don't
really
want
great
a whole
way
week prepping.
to go to school,
Ugh.
because they're going to be at school, and it's never going to be exactly what they thought it was going to be. And it's, it's just like, they have this innate way. And Liam especially has this amazing way to just be in the moment. And so we still had like 4 days of summer left. And I was just like, we're going to be, yesterday we woke up early just to feel what that feels like and to be tired.
So you go to bed at decent time
But
last
besides
night.
that, it was, I just told him last week, what do you want to do for your last week of summer? And he knew it was the last week of summer.
Plus, school kind of starts usually like toward the end of the week. So like, what do you have? A couple of days could be tired, or it's wild. But
and
anyway,
I think every parent does what's best for their family. And so it was always weird that a principal would call and say, send your kids to bed early this week and and it's just like, I can't even.
But Liam was excited, he was
Totally.
excited when we talked to him about you starting, end of summer. I was even trying to like keep it's end of summer, okay, like a little higher, energy. Although I'm going, oh gosh, I would be bummed if I was a student going, summer's ending.
It's really hard. What we've done in the past is forgotten to tell Liam things, like just assume for some reason that he would know something that we haven't told him. And that happens a lot in school. A lot of the times in school, like the other kids will, it's on their calendar or whatnot. It's supposed to be put in Liam's agenda, any changes or upcoming events, and they'll forget because they just know. And for some reason they might think, I know that next week is winter vacation, and everybody should know that, but nobody knows. Like, I didn't even know yesterday was the first day of school. I thought it was next week.
Oh, that's funny.
I thought it was next week. And we've just really spent a long time talking about our errors and how we need supports. And I always that's just a note. That's what I always keep in mind when I'm talking to IEP teams and teachers. It's like, everybody needs supports and reminders. Everybody needs different things. Like, I went to the eye doctor today. I need glasses. That's just totally off course. I know
It's an accommodation.
But I keep that in mind because we're starting the school year. And honestly, during the summer, we know our son. We work on goals that we want to work on. And whenever we're doing something, we know what supports are needed. So it's not even called a support or accommodation. It's just, that's how we function in life. That's how every moment that's not in school, it has so much more ease, because for some reason when it comes to school, there's such a conversation. It's never just that IEP document that we worked really hard to create. I feel like every single accommodation has like a conversation with it. And that's why we wanted to have this episode, because from the first day of kindergarten, our experience with Liam for back to school was so drastically different than with Sophia. Like with Sophia, it was picking out a lunchbox. It was, what are you going to wear tomorrow? This is who your teachers are. I don't even know if we looked at the schedule when it came to middle school or high school, maybe like briefly, but it wasn't.
Yeah. You kind of like see, oh, what's your day going to be like? But it's going to be exciting, and here's the new stuff.
Oh,
And
this is cool. And middle school, of course, is challenging for every single human that ever went to middle school. So, there's those conversations, but it was so different. And I've always felt that there was a weight that I carried. Like it was this thing that was just an it came from when Liam was 3 and aged out of early intervention. That started the fight with the school district on placement. We had some really great conversations along the way where people told us, you want inclusion, you don't want mainstream. And they told us the definition for each thing. And you know what? Every parent decides what they want and what's best for your family and for your student. But that's the parent and the family's and the student's choice. And inclusion by far, they will try to tell you all these reasons no, but inclusion by far is always better for both parties involved, for the students with IEPs and not IEPs.
as long as there's supports.
And it's the right placement. You as a parent believe it's the right placement. If you want your kid in an inclusive classroom, that is the least restrictive environment. Yes, with supports to access the curriculum. Can it be more work for the school? Yeah, because then they have to uphold an IEP. A lot of times they'll try to push and take somebody off of curriculum or push them into a side classroom because that alleviates them. It's not supposed to. It's supposed to be because it's what's better for the student. But for the most part, our experience has been that it's cost effective for the school and it alleviates them from the accountability of actually teaching your student.
They may also try to go, oh, sure, inclusive environment, gen ed class, great, without the proper supports to then try to show that inclusion is going to fail.
They make it fail. Yeah, they push the narratives. But hopefully that's changing.
Yes.
Hopefully that's not your experience. And also, I do keep in mind that least restrictive environment looks different for every student.
Yes. It may not be inclusion.
It may not.
It might not be an inclusive environment. Like it might not be a gen ed class.
Right. But that's
It's
the
up to-
parents.
yes.
That's your,
Exactly.
that is your decision. You have the right to an equal education. Your child has a right to an equal education. Your student has a right to an equal education with the supports to access the curriculum. And that's a big conversation. And we have lots of episodes on that.
And parents are doing that. That's advocacy right there. So
Right.
that shows you why Liam might have a better end of summer, beginning of school year than parents in general, like that vibe of the new school year coming.
Yeah, because we've had to fight. And that is another reason that going back to school, like when we're at home, I mean, the biggest fight is, okay, what movie will we watch tonight? Or what is for dinner? Or when do we leave the beach? Right? Those are like but like as soon as, the week before, I check in with the school, making sure the IEP is in place, the supports are in place, emails for the teachers so I can have a meeting. I want a meeting with every teacher within the first weeks of school just to make sure. I want to get it. Honestly, I'm sussing out the teachers. I'm getting a vibe. I'm listening to the words they say. How do they describe my son? Have they ever had a student in their class with Down syndrome before? What is their experience? What is their perception of Down syndrome? And I listen. It's not always pretty. It's not always great, but that gives me information of what needs to change. What can I rely on to be there? Right. And it does. I really do believe that knowledge is power. I know sometimes it can be disheartening, but for the most part, it's power because then you know. And it's better to know than to wonder or guess. Because honestly, sometimes I've wondered or guessed that someone wasn't doing what they're supposed to do. And they were. That someone was, had biases or prejudices and they didn't necessarily, or they weren't what I thought they were, or so it's really better to have those conversations, to become a part of that teacher, knowing like they're not just gonna push Liam to the side. And we had 2 teachers last year that were continually got that broom out. He's sitting in the classroom, that's enough. We see him there, that's enough. I found out one teacher was actually taking off on his tests because of articulation, which he has a support. It's called speech. You can't do that. So what we want to talk about when it comes to back to school is the anxiety that we can feel as parents of a student with an IEP. First, I want to acknowledge it because for the most part, it's not acknowledged. Like we just do what we're supposed to do, just like our student does. We do the work, but yet I don't know about you, but I tend to feel bad because I've addressed a wrong against my son, and now that teacher or administrator isn't like happy about it. And then I don't know if I feel like, this is me being honest with you. I know somebody doesn't like me. And you know what? I had to get over that. And I'm still getting over that because for the most part, I like everyone. I see everyone just like I want people to see my son. I see or try to see everybody's potential. I try to see the best in every person. I know people are doing their best. And I know all of this work comes from a broken system that's been broken for a really long time. So for me,
it's natural to want to be liked.
Yeah, to want to belong. Like we're fighting for our student, for Liam to have a sense of, we want him to know he belongs. And he knows when a teacher doesn't.
But that gets messy sometimes, and that's what the parents kind of put up with and deal with, but then also want to protect their kids from it by still having the smiling face and the positivity about school. You're doing this work and taking these hits, and not only are you dealing with that, you have to also put on a game face and
you don't
and
want
a smile.
them to know that
No.
teacher's a turkey. Like
Right.
you don't, because
So then it's not addressed. That's what you're talking about. Like then you just kind of sweep it away and you don't talk about this.
I feel
this
like as
awkwardness,
parents, we
this
don't
pain
talk
or-
about it.
Yeah.
It is pain, but it's the weight that we carry
Yeah, the
because so we're
weight.
going into sophomore year. Last year, there was a lot of big hot messes, but what carried us through is like that solid part of the team that was extraordinary. So for as poorly as part of the team functioned and just couldn't get their mind wrapped around the meaning of inclusion and what it means to access the curriculum and those supports, we have probably, I think it's like equal. I think it's split 50-50
Yeah.
of
All stars.
all-stars that actually appreciate our advocacy, understand our advocacy, because that's the thing is I know that person is also doing the work. People who don't appreciate your advocacy are the people who are like, I'm getting called into the principal's office again. Well, that's that situation that we've talked about before where you're mad at me because you're not doing what you're supposed to. And then it becomes about something else. And eventually I had to come to the place where that is not what's going to get my focus. And I work really hard for it not to drain my energy or for me not to care if the person who's violating my son's right to an equal education doesn't like me or is mad because I'm trying to make changes and I'm trying to support my student and bridge the gap and fix something that's broken.
Well, Liam's IEP also is well structured. It is a lot of accommodations there. The supports are there for him, and the supports are there surrounding the teacher too. There's a lot of people involved.
Communication.
Yeah,
But-
but there is a bit of, I don't know if it's really extra work for the teacher. I mean, it doesn't seem like it would be like giving information ahead of time. Could just be an email. But that's like if you said, a student says, I want to talk to you and discuss something. A teacher would make time after class or before class and office hours and say, oh, you can sit down with me for 20 minutes and talk, or a half hour, or even 5 minutes. And that's basically what we're doing through these communication emails of just getting on board what's coming up this week. And that's the part that I think shied some teachers away from, like, I don't do any more than what I'm doing, but they don't see it as, this would be the same as if a kid stepped you to the side and just talked for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's the same. We're his voice. We're his advocate. That's all it is we're helping him by speaking with and for him.
Let me build on the word same. Equal.
It is equal.
It's
you can't tell
equal-
me a typical student wouldn't go to a math teacher and say, I'm having an issue with this. Can you just go over this real quick? The teacher would be like, oh, yeah, wait, you do this, do that. Maybe it's 5 minutes.
So here's the thing that I pose as a question, because my prep for back to school is starting the conversation about the IEP, the teachers, who are the teachers, who is his BII, if there's like a homework kind of group, making sure that my student has support so he has equal opportunities, the same
to access that
as everyone. And I was getting these cutesy letters back, words like rest assured. I was told to rest assured. There is
with
never
no details.
There's rest
Just
assured.
like, trust me.
Trust me, we're doing great. But that is great. That's an opinion. There's no other contract in the world that you could ask a question about. Are you doing that? And someone would go, trust me. Can you show me where you're doing it? Rest assured. It's never going to happen. And, I feel bad because here's this person trying to be cute and uplifty, but equal right to an education, until that is a thing, it's not cute to me. If I ask a question, I'm asking a simple, direct question to ensure that IEP is being upheld, which it usually isn't. And last year there were plenty of times that it wasn't.
If you're asking, who's my student's one-on-one aid, the BII,
tell me a name.
This year. Give me a name. We know BIIs.
Give me the information.
Yes. If it's just, we got it. Our whole staff is wait a minute. Then you have not prepared for my son coming to school.
Well, but this is the thing. It's like when you walk in.
Of course, the name?
Of course.
She just didn't want to tell us.
Of course. It's that whole thing when you walk into an IEP and everybody's been there together talking for 20 minutes. It's the same kind of thing. And if not, it's the same kind of vibe. And so my question I posed was, if a parent of a neurotypical student asked a question, and instead of answering their question, the answer was, I got this. Don't worry. Rest assured. Mm-hmm. Would that fly? And you know what? The information followed the next morning. So we've learned now that Liam's in the 10th grade, and we've really fought for him to be on curriculum. We're not taking him off curriculum. We're pushing through. And in order to do that, those supports need to be understood and in place, and they need to be in check. And when they're not, and it's okay. Somebody's going to forget to front load. Somebody's going to forget to tell you something. Someone's going to forget to respond to an email. That's fine. There are supports that accommodate. And as long as Liam doesn't suffer from it, as long as somebody doesn't try to give him a failing grade because of it, which a Spanish teacher tried to do that last year. And I was like, oh, we're going to have a talk. We're going to have another talk. As long as he doesn't suffer, then I'm okay, because that's how things change. That's how I learn. And I'm still learning. I don't know everything. I don't pretend to know everything. What I do know is Liam's right to an equal education is a right and not a favor. I know that. And it took me a long time to really learn that. It is a right. And I know that currently it's under attack. So that's part of my conversation is, hey, special education and equal rights to an education are under attack right now. And so because of that, I will be more diligent. And these infractions, this like blatant disregard is not tolerable, because right now, special education is being stripped and denied because there is a mindset, which is a false mindset, of the people who do not want to uphold your students' right to an equal education. There's a false mindset that the right, for some reason, has changed. It has not. The right is still there. We just, I think, have to be really diligent in making sure those supports are in place. The IEP is being upheld. And the truth is, I'm not going to shy away from filing complaints this year because of the attack that is on special education and the rights of individuals with disabilities.
Plus, we don't know what that whole transfer, what you're talking about specifically, is that the transfer from the Department of Education to the Department of Health and Human Services, and the IEP and the special education process being thought of from education to like healthcare. How is it monitored? What happens when there's a complaint? Who's going to be in charge of that? There's going to be people that are knowledgeable of how to do that, how to uphold it, like the Department of Education would be, not people that don't have experience. So stay on it. This is the time to not step back, to push forward, because we need to get ahead of this. Things may take longer. If there's a problem, things may take longer to get resolved. We don't know where it's going, right? As of right now, nothing's really changed.
But history has told us, like, we've come through so much, right? We experienced the institutions that were closed down, and those were created as an alternate place. It was supposed to be education.
Mm-hmm.
That was supposed to be education. And this is why we have rights in place that say inclusive classroom. And there's a second little tidbit to that is that everybody gets the placement in the classroom, least restrictive environment, equal education. You must teach them. They actually had to add that.
Put that in.
They had to put in, it's not okay just to put someone in the class. You must teach them. And that is the 504, the supports that are in place for them to access the curriculum. So if you know how like you buy anything new, and then there's always this like disclaimer, like with a car, autopilot doesn't mean you can walk to the back of the car. Like a minute, like whatever it is, there's always this weird, is it like a warning or a...
That you go, wait, like you
Why
get the
is-
McDonald's coffee and it says, this is really, really
this
hot.
is hot, might burn.
Yeah.
That's because somewhere along the way, something happened where that was a surprise to somebody. So if you think about that, these things that are taken for granted for the student who doesn't have the IEP, sitting in the classroom, having access to their curriculum, having the supports they need for their curriculum, because every student has supports. My student just has them written down in a document because for some reason, people think my son is different. That's it. That's what it comes down to. His right to an education historically was seen as different. His ability was seen as different.
I'll go further and say less than.
Well, yeah. And so, first of all, my son, 30 years ago, 40, wouldn't have had a space in the classroom. Then he was allowed in the classroom, and the teacher would have been like what we heard in first grade. Oh my gosh, such a pleasure to be around, gives the greatest hugs.
Right.
You know what? That never sat right with me. So all of that can be really heavy. All of that can take the joy away from the first day of school. All of that can cause immense anxiety. And I'm telling you, I feel it. No matter, like we've been advocating, Liam, for 13 years we've been advocating. And we still get so much pushback. Like last year, we were offered to take Liam and put him on an alternate curriculum again. I mean, I thought that I was done with that fight. And I've known lawyers.
Even though he had 1B last year, he had all A's and 1B. When the supports are there, it proved itself. I think that's an issue too, is that, because schools are, your child goes
they
to
don't
multiple
want to
schools.
see him. But also, I feel like that you were just about to say it. Like when the supports are there, Liam is an A-B student. You know why? Because he does the work. He doesn't have a choice to do the work.
He has to
He
do
doesn't. He doesn't get like.
It's part of the support.
He doesn't come home, throw his book bag down, and be like, "No, we're good." Like a lot of teenagers can do.
Yeah, I'm hitting
Liam,
the
like there's
video game.
communication, there's an agenda, there's communication through emails. It's involved. And so he doesn't have a choice. So public education can be accessed with the supports.
But that's him holding up his end of the deal. That's him holding up his end of the deal of his education. Because the idea is, I need a support such as, let's say, front loading and more explanation of how to do a project or something. That's all broken down. Work we do or you do.
Liam has a checklist.
also,
Just so I
he
think you're
has
talking
to-
about he has a checklist.
And he has to do that work.
And he has to do it.
In order to fulfill the requirements of the supports. So it's built in. But that's where it's like...
It's built into the right.
The rest of
the supports to access.
But the rest of the IEP team should see how hard he's working when they
get
go,
so-
I don't know if I have to do this.
And I feel like that's our biggest challenge with teachers who don't have an inclusive mindset is I think they see Liam and are like, well, if I do all this, then he's going to get an A.
Yeah. You mean if you tell
if
him
you do
what
your
you're going
job
to ask
and
and then what the
uphold his
answer would
right?
be? Yeah. And then he learns the answers?
Like the Spanish teacher gave him so much grief all of last year. And so I was like, well, we better do Duolingo just to make sure he's up to par for year 2 of Spanish.
Over the summer.
Oh, he's such a whiz.
Yeah.
He knows everything. She was grading him on his articulation, which is discrimination.
Yeah. You can't
You
do
can't
that.
You can't grade him and mark him off on something that's part of his diagnosis. It's like, oh, and she was.
Yeah.
And she actually wrote it down in a paper that I found and now is in a file. So I've had to learn myself how to handle it and how to approach it. and where to place it in my life and how to deal with it, how to shift my focus, how to accept it. Because and I can't, like, the fight isn't a fight. It's not really a fight. I'm not fighting what's there. I'm forging. So I think I'm forging.
Mm-hmm.
I'm forging change. The fight was always in myself of just, why is it like this? And why is it so consistently like this? And how do people have just the nerve and just the ability to say and do these things that are a violation of my son's right to an equal education? And that's what I was always fighting, is how it is. And I can't fight how something is. I have to accept how it is. And then I have to forge and move forward to create change.
Well, one way, to actually deal with the part of the pain that we talked about and the anxiety of the beginning of a new school year because of what we've just been talking about is to talk about it.
Yeah, because I think that the parents and the families do suffer because you have all of this pain and anxiety and frustration that you can't really talk about in a PTA meeting if you're only dealing with parents who don't have students with IEPs.
Right.
Like, I mean, we saw that and we tried to talk about it and parents were just like outraged at us.
Yeah, in fact, you built a team of like
Parents
that
yeah.
would come and
But
and
that's
you'd
not
have a
an
support group
but that's
type of
not
thing, but
inclusive.
no,
That's
it's
not
not
inclusive to parents.
No, well,
But-
because parents want to boast about their school sometimes, and
Yeah,
and they don't want to hear negative things, or they go, well, that's not me, that's you, and
But I feel like for me, I want to find what's healthy for me. Like, I shouldn't get to graduation and just be beaten down. And it was beating me down because, I guess it was this constant state of disbelief that just every time I'd be like, what? And then they'd do something new and I'd be like, what? So I'm just going to say the system is broken. And you're going to find misperceptions left, right, and center. You're also going to find a nice onslaught of new teachers coming in that believe in inclusion and change and know the narrative. Know the narrative of assumed ability, know the narrative of different individual education plans for every student, know diversity, know inclusion. Like, that is coming down the pike. We have a few of those, and oh my goodness, do we love them? Do we just like celebrate them? And we're so happy. So, but you might have the school district who's trying to push your student off curriculum. You might have the teachers or the administration that doesn't want to provide a BII because it costs them money, that they don't want your student in the classroom with everyone else because then, or parents might look at you, which happened to us in kindergarten, and said, why is he in their class? Isn't there a class for this student?
they might also not have the personnel. They might say, oh, we don't have a APE person right now or something. And it's like,
That's
wait, and then you wait
guess
for that.
What? That the right doesn't say, if it's okay and convenient, this is his right. If it's good with you, school, you can do it willy-nilly.
Yeah.
That's not what the right is. That's not how it's written. It supports to access the curriculum. And there's a long, long, long list of supports. There's so many supports, so many ways. And it's so your student can access that curriculum and demonstrate that they've learned it. Like there's different ways, like the spelling test. They don't have to do 25 words. They just need to demonstrate that they've mastered a concept. And that can be like 2 words from each I before E, or whatever the spelling was. And that was a life changer in elementary school. But until those changes take place, back to school can be very overwhelming for us. Back to school can be overwhelming for us because of where we've come from, what we fear is coming up based on what we've come from, and all of the unknowns. Oh, new teacher. So, and all kids will be like, oh, I can't stand that teacher. Oh, that teacher. Oh, yay, that teacher. Every student experiences favorites, and oh, brother. And the kids know who's the good teacher, who's the bad teacher, as a judgment from students and their experience with those teachers. But that list comes to us and I look at it and I'm like, oh, these are 4 teachers I don't know this year. Now I need to get their emails. Now I need to email them. Now I need to have a meeting with these teachers. Oh, here's a QR code. Let's scan it for the locker. Okay, I can't access the locker. It has to come from Liam's email. And now they're asking me, what floor do you want it to be on? I don't know the diagram of the school. So now it's a team meeting, a team email, and I have to connect my IEP team and the people who are in charge of the lockers, because the person in charge of the lockers is saying, well, you need to do this. And you know what? It's not that easy. And so I've had to learn to not get mad at that person who thinks it should be that easy for me, because you know what? It should be that easy for me. It should come with the same ease for Liam as it does for every student. That would be equal, but we're not there yet. So that request for a locker becomes a thing. And Liam does have the ease because we're taking it as parents. We're the ones who are taking a picture of the QR code. We're the ones that are we're driving through it. We are doing, and that's how I want it. I'm his parent. That's what I do until he's a self-advocate and he's learning in different places to be self-advocate. That's just what we do. But that is at the bane of what can steal our joy and
excitement for a year
for
to
a
start.
Because it's a new year. There's so much possibility, especially in high school. Next year is when he's going to be doing most of the work, because that's when, the college applications start doing and everything. So it's exciting, right? It's supposed to be exciting. I will say, yay, for the most part, like Liam has a really amazing team and a really amazing schedule this year, which that does now, looking at it, because of his rock star on his team who makes visual schedules.
Yeah.
We have A days, B days, and this is a high school thing in California. This beautiful human, knowing that front loading is part of Liam's IEP, that Liam can benefit from visual cues and a checklist. These are also accommodations in his IEP that she's well versed in. She's taken the time to read and understand. If she ever had a question about an accommodation, she actually would email me and say, can you explain this to me? Like, what is it? How do you see this being implemented? I want to stay focused on that. This beautiful, wonderful human who's extraordinary at their job created 2 visual schedules with pictures of the teachers, his BIIs, who the alternate BII will be, a place where Liam checks in about water because he'll forget to drink water, but a place for Liam. This is where Liam can look and be like, am I drinking water? Because you know what? I have to be reminded to drink water some days. So she created these and she's like, I'm so sorry. She couldn't print them before the first day of school to get to me. So she included them in an email. And I went over them with Liam so he could see who his teachers are. We could discuss it showed what room number, when is lunch, what comes next. We put together his book bags. All of these great things were possible because this one human took his accommodations seriously and provided them and that support. And Liam went into school. He knows who his BII is. He knows what his day is going to look like. And he knows who he's going to see, who's going to be new, who's not going to be new, when he's going to have lunch. And that's what I want to, that is the part that I want to be able to focus on and celebrate. And just having that one rock star. Now you want the whole team to be rock stars, but just having that one person that does what's supposed to be done.
It comes from a belief in Liam.
Mm-hmm.
It comes from a belief in the kids she works with.
Mm-hmm. And I think in overall equality. I think it comes from believing in equality.
That Liam's education is as important as any student there.
I was watching a really great documentary called Best Kept Secret, and it was made in 2012, and I watched it with Sophia. And it's basically about a school, students from 10 to 21, and it's life skills to prepare them for that, aging out of the school system. And just watching that, and watching it with Sophia. So this was 2012. So how before that, these people were 21 in 2012. I look back at supports were not in place.
For these students.
Supports to different supports, but they weren't education based. They were life skills. Focus on life skills, this is how I feel. And I don't mean to offend anyone. I think life skills are important for everyone. I think life skills is something that is and needs to be taught to every student. And I think it is, but it's not in lieu of an education. And that's the fault I see, because education is power. Getting that diploma is power in Liam's life because Liam can make the choice to go to college. Liam, he might not want to go right as he graduates, just like Sophia didn't, but he gets to make that choice. And people taking the choice away is the problem, right? And I think that's part of my advocacy, and sometimes baby in bathwater, but I feel like there's been so much focus on not inclusion, not equal education, that's what continues to propagate the limits that we see. And what I loved about this documentary was they had some parents on there, and they're just talking, but this is 14 years ago, but they're talking about, I'm asking for the support and I'm not getting the support and like different things. And I'm like, so one, I know we've been fighting this fight for a really long time, but what I was so thankful for with this documentary is that 14 years ago, this information was documented. And I don't know if the rest of the world watching it sees what I see. I probably, unless you have a student on this journey, but I see consequence of a broken system because I see all these amazing students, different learners, different areas of expression, but all these beautiful, amazing students who have been denied their equal right to an education, who have been denied the supports that are there for them. It's their right. And that right to an equal education was created because education has such an impact on the possibilities of our life and the doors that we can open. Not necessarily the doors that other people open for us, but what we can open, what we know we can open, what we have the ability to open, like to go in different places, not like this linear concept of what education and post-high school education can be, but in so many different ways. Just that the confidence and the knowing of the, because I feel like that's what high school really teaches us is like confidence and knowing that we can learn or where we can find the answers, because that's what we're learning. Because I did not come into this world with a full knowledge of world history or mathematics and geometry or classic literature, but I learned where to find. I learned what I love. I learned what my passions are and what I can do. And that changes the course of my life. And that's really the foundation of equal education is everybody has equal access to a public education because everybody should have access to the full potential of their life. So I watched this documentary and some of it was really hard to watch, but what it did was it confirmed my belief in the importance of advocacy and in the importance of changing and fixing what is broken. And that, sometimes I'm going to take a hit and there's going to be a teacher that just doesn't like me. And there's going to be an administrator that just wishes I would take their word for it. But I'm not going to do that because it's far more important. And I'm really working this year. We're working on keeping our peace, making sure that we don't change. We don't deny anybody their dignity. We're not cruel. We don't get so angry that we're mean, like never write an email when you're mad. Those don't always turn out right. I'm really working towards being what I want to see in the world, how I want. And also that's a distraction. That's a distraction from the real focus here is Liam and his education. So it's back to school, and that's what I carry. That's what I carry.
And if you feel the same, if that's your experience, then hopefully hearing us talk about it helps, and communication helps. Talking about it helps.
Find other parents to talk to. And you know what? If I'm in a PTA meeting and somebody asks me something, I'm going to answer honestly, not with anger. I'm going to answer honestly, like, well, this is why we do this, because we're fighting for equal education for my student. And if that's what it is, then it's okay. It's the truth. You're speaking the truth. It's not with judgment or anger. And if a teacher doesn't like hearing that, then maybe that will make them do something different, but I'm going to have Liam's back. And what we want to do is help you to take your power back, help you to take your joy back, maybe not have such an anxious year or a frustrating year or a year that wears you down.
And to know that what you're doing is the right thing.
Yeah, it matters. You're making a difference. You're doing a great job. You're doing an amazing job. And you're not alone. Whatever you're doing is enough and really great work. We're making the changes one pencil at a time, one accommodated calculator at a time. And if you ever have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Education is a right, not a favor.
Till next time.
You're doing great.
Please follow us on Twitter at If We Knew Then Pod, and you can drop us a line on our Facebook page at If We Knew Then Pod, or visit our website, ifweknewthen.com, to send us an email with questions and comments. And you can join our mailing list there and get alerts of future podcast episodes. All these links will be added to this episode's show notes. Thank you again, and we look forward to you joining us on the next episode of If We Knew Then.